the 5th, 1944, England. The biggest air and naval fleet in history is taking off for France to free Europe from Nazi Germany's clutches. The green light for departure still hasn't been given. They've been waiting for over 50 hours. Tension is at its peak. World War II enters its 5th year of combat. Despite setbacks in Russia, the power of Germany is still so strong that the Anglo-American allies have recruited 2 million men, all ready to sacrifice their lives. From the Battle of Normandy to the liberation of Paris, 400,000 lives will be lost.
I remember I was so happy. I was free, alive, and thankful. Thank you. Thank you to the Allies, to the English, the Canadians, the Americans. Thank you to all partisans from the shadows.
Civilians, the military, common people or powerful figures, all were witnesses. Footage from this period, which was shot in black and white, has been colorized.
Fear and worry have taken over our poor country. No one dares to talk about it. Oh, will we find freedom again? I just hope the war ends this year. I can't stand the thought of more suffering.
France has been under German occupation for 4 years. The people of France await the Allied landings. The Germans anticipate them. Hitler has built what he calls the Atlantic Wall. From Norway to Spain, a coastal defense line made with a series of concrete bunkers, several meters wide. The beaches and their access are planted with anti-tank obstacles and close to 6 million mines. The most powerful cannons are placed in the Pas-de-Calais, the closest meeting point between France and England. Field Marshal Rommel, one of the most feared German military leaders, is in charge of protecting the Atlantic Wall.
Hitler thinks the invasion will take place in the Pas-de-Calais, only 30 kilometers away from England. If you think the Anglo-Americans are waiting for the right weather and the shortest route, and that they'll warn you ahead of time, you are wrong. Weather conditions during landing will be horrific, and they will take the longest route. The landings will take place in Normandy, and that day will be the longest day.
Rommel's opponent is American General Dwight David Eisenhower, 53 years old. Appointed Commander-in-Chief because the American task forces represent over half of the Allies, Eisenhower, affectionately known as Ike, is considered a fine strategist and a master organizer. Eisenhower's mission in France is to relieve the Russians, who have suffered tremendous losses, and to free German-occupied European countries to finally corner the Germans in a pincer. Like for many great American chiefs, the British offered Eisenhower a special chauffeur for his armored Cadillac. This young woman, is this a special favor or a way of spying on him? Her name is Kay Summersby. Kay Summersby was appointed as chauffeur to General Eisenhower in 1942. In 1943, her fiancé, an American officer, was killed in North Africa.
One day, Ike says, I'm having some uniforms made for myself, and I've told the tailor to measure you for a couple too. I'd absolutely love a new uniform, thank you. You do so many nice things for me. How can I ever thank you? You can't possibly know how much I would like to do for you, he says. There was a strange quality in his voice. I look at him in the eyes. Kay, you're someone very special to me, he says. I feel tears rising in my eyes. He takes my hand, and I feel shaken, timid, in naked adoration. And then, I suppose, inevitably, we found ourselves in each other's arms. Our clothes come off, but this is not what I'd expected. He says in my ear, "Oh God, Kay, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be any good for you. What you need is some sleep," I answer. "Good night, General." And I salute.
Groundwork for the landings comes along nicely. The press is authorized to film Eisenhower with his staff and the British General Sir Bernard Montgomery. Nicknamed Monty, he has already defeated Rommel in the desert. He is in command of all Allied ground forces during the landings. The operation is codenamed Overlord. But where and when still remains a secret. What the journalists do know is that the tides and the moon will only be favorable for the first week of June. They are allowed to say that an American army has been deployed in the south of England, facing the Pas-de-Calais. The Americans orchestrate a gigantic deceptive military operation called Operation Fortitude, with a decoy army in Dover. Led by a general well known to the Germans, Patton. As for Eisenhower, he intensifies military training for the official landings.
Our colonel says, intelligence tells us that the people of Normandy have fraternized with the enemy. They did what anyone else would do to survive 4 years of occupation. Gifts, cakes, chocolates. They probably accepted daily life with the Germans.
The Germans are setting up their anti-aircraft defenses behind our fields. We have been requisitioned to bring soup to their soldiers because they don't have enough fuel to get it themselves.
This is what we think. The Nazis have had it their way for a long time. We'll have to kill them like they've never been killed before. Now we will be the invaders. What they call liberation is good for newspaper stories. We aren't liberating anything. We're turning things upside down.
The Third Reich's armed forces are more comfortable in Normandy than on the Eastern Front, where 3 million soldiers have been killed. They're also safer in Normandy than they are in Germany, where Allied bombings are devastating major cities. However, they know that the invasion could happen any day.
We listen to the BBC at night. We're not allowed to. All of our radios have been confiscated. But my grandmother managed to hide hers. We listen to the personal messages meant for the resistance. We don't understand them, but we await the message announcing the Allied landings.
These coded messages are broadcast on the BBC and appeal to French resistance fighters. Almost 200 of these key phrases are used to trigger armed activity to assist the landings. The most famous of these messages comes from a poem by Verlaine. Les sanglots longs des violons de l'automne blessent mon cœur d'une langueur monotone.
We await the landings. We can feel them coming. English and American planes keep flying over our homes.
To isolate Normandy, the Allies intensify their bombings, destroying all road networks. They extend this destruction countrywide in an attempt to conceal the true landing zone. The massive destruction divides the Allies. Churchill, driven by Kay Summersby, is invited by Eisenhower to see the paratroopers in training. Churchill takes this opportunity to tell Eisenhower that he's just written to the President of the United States, Franklin D. Roosevelt.
I fear terrible consequences for these deadly attacks on the French population. I requested these bombings to cease beyond 10,000 casualties, yet Roosevelt answered that civilian losses were regrettable, but that they would not cease fire.
Everyone can feel the Allied invasion approaching. Journalists have gathered on the English coast, in Plymouth. Here, life goes on as usual. Despite the destruction, the English remain stoic. The 1940 bombings have left their mark all over the country. War correspondents surround their most celebrated journalist, Ernie Pyle, who writes in his articles about G.I. Joe, the typical big-mouth and big-hearted American soldier. And these G.I. Joes embark on their first trip, possibly never to return. When Eisenhower gives the signal, 136,000 American, British, Canadian and French soldiers will cross the English Channel.
My nerves are strained to the breaking point. I've had my fill of combat. Now, there was more back-breaking training on English beaches. I'm fed up with jumping off landing boats into the water and crawling up beaches on my belly.
The soldiers think about the 750 GIs who have lost their lives in a landing exercise. They all wonder whether or not the Germans know they're coming. Does Hitler know? Hitler attends the wedding of his mistress, Eva Braun's sister, to an SS general. Hitler is starting to consider a possible defeat. He says, if the enemy overcomes us, millions of Germans will be slaughtered by the Bolsheviks. The Jews are responsible for this brutality.
In effect, the stage is being set for the beginning of a great and crucial test all over the world. I have complete confidence that the soldiers, sailors, and airmen, and all the civil populations of the United Nations will demonstrate once and for all that an aroused democracy is the most formidable fighting machine that can be devised.
Ike is anxiety-ridden. He smokes cigarette after cigarette and drinks pot after pot of coffee. He grumbles that military textbooks taught him that the weather was neutral, but that in his experience in North Africa and in Italy, the weather is always on the side of the enemy.
The Army's weather forecasters are unable to give him a precise date. Violent winds, rain, and very rough seas are expected. Eisenhower must delay the operation. The weather forecast is so bad that Rommel isn't worried about an impending invasion. He returns to Germany to negotiate 2 military divisions and to celebrate his wife's birthday.
I can't say, don't worry. He must face the gravest decision that ever faced one man, a gamble with hundreds of thousands of lives as the stake. I can't say everything's going to be all right, because there's a very good chance that everything may not be all right.
Eisenhower has already delayed the landings by 24 hours. Early on June the 5th, he finally makes his decision. 3 simple, yet historical words. Okay, let's go. The objective is finally revealed. The Allies chose 5 beaches in Normandy, the most adapted for the landings, as previously deduced by Rommel. After landing, paratroopers will come up on the Germans from behind. The paratroopers receive the order to prepare. They blacken their faces with shoe polish to blend into the night without being seen.
I carry 100 rounds of ammunition, 2 landmines, a pistol strapped to one leg, a pound of plastic explosives to the other. I weigh about 65 kilos, but with a parachute in the buoy, I now weigh 120 kilos.
Eisenhower meets the other paratroopers from the 101st Airborne Division. They will be the first to jump.
The paratroopers cheer and shout, "It's Ike! Good old Ike!" He says a few words to every man as he shakes his hand. And later in the car, he tells me, it's very hard, really, to look a soldier in the eye when you fear that you're sending him to his death.
Allied Joint Staff predicts that 8 out of 10 paratroopers won't be coming home. They will be the first to die. These men are afraid. They'll be landing in the pitch black, not knowing where or how. Shot by the Germans, like fish in a barrel.
At 10:30 p.m. on June 5th, we all enter the planes. There are 1,500 planes, carrying about 20,000 troopers, ready to go to Normandy.
Today is D-Day, June the 6th, 1944. British and American paratroopers fly above the biggest fleet in history. Over 5,000 ships sail across the English Channel to Normandy. The crossing takes all night, from June the 5th till June the 6th. The weather is so bad that the soldiers use condoms to protect their gun barrels from the rain and the waves.
While descending, a few bullets pierced my chute. I hit the ground. I spot a German and immediately shoot. He falls backwards. I'm in a severe state of fear. I feel a burning in my leg and something warm running down.
I'm shot. I bandaged the wound.
Some paratroopers land on marshlands, others even in Sainte-Mère-Église. They advance behind enemy lines. The Germans realize that something serious is going on. But no one dares to wake up Hitler.
The battery commander wakes me up. I've had a message. It's starting. I had been expecting it for a long time. We were aware that the invasion would come.
The troops in the first beach defense line, their weapons still unused, realize this is it, the invasion. But the High Command still believes it to be a decoy. The 1st American Infantry Division is getting ready to land on Omaha Beach, in front of Colville.
We climb down the rope ladders into the LCVPs, the standard 32 men in each boat. Waves crash over the boats. I wonder if any of the history books would mention all the damn vomit that made our boots feel like ice skates. And we still have 1 or 2 more hours to go before we get to the beach.
Meanwhile, the 8th Canadian Infantry Brigade is about to land on Juno Beach at Bernières-sur-Mer.
It's nothing like the exercises in calm weather. And the crew are getting edgy. I go down the net as fast as I can. But the boat is already cast off. I slip and nearly become our first statistic. But 2 of the men catch me just in time.
Many soldiers lost a leg, an arm, or even their lives before disembarking. The Allies dropped 10,000 tons of bombs on the beaches to destroy German defenses.
An outburst of explosions wakes me up. I switch on the light, but no electricity. The blasts are from the waterfront. They sound really close. It's the Allied invasion we've all been waiting for. It's an inferno, chaotic, unreal, out of proportion. Light is fusing like fireworks. We can feel the blasts drumming in our chests.
The noise gets louder and louder. The heavy bombers pass over our heads. Their load comes whistling and crashing down, and everything starts to shake. But the bombers miss their target. We're not hit.
An explosion starboard. What the hell was that? Shouts a lieutenant. A mine? Another explosion. That's no mine, says our sergeant. They're shelling us from the beach. We begin to see bloody bodies floating by us in the water. A few are still alive and plead for help as we pass. We are under strict orders not to stop. We grit our teeth and look away.
Above them, Allied bomb shells are pouring like rain in an attempt to destroy German defenses.
Not one shot is being fired. We have strict orders to wait until the GIs are in knee-deep water. They toil slowly forward, completely defenseless.
The LCVP drops its ramp. We plunge into the freezing, choppy water.
I shoot at anything that moves in the water and on the beach. I am brought at least 8,000 rounds. They are led like lambs to a slaughter.
Bullets from Nazi machine guns splatter everywhere. A lot of dog faces are hit and killed before getting anywhere near the beach. I swallow a ton of salt water mixed with American blood. The 200 yards to Omaha Beach is the longest distance I've ever traveled. Thinking heroes? No such damn thing. You move your ass one way, you don't get hit. You move it another way, you're blown to bits. In battle, experience and intuition, not heroics, are useful. Luck has a hell of a lot more to do with it. You still might get hit, but if you're lucky, you're wounded in a way that allows you to stay alive. A soldier acts out of panic or hysteria, never considering the risks. We're too scared to understand the consequences. The whole situation is so crazy. Only a madman could find any rationale for being there.
At the same time, the Americans are landing on the beach codenamed Utah. They suffer fewer casualties. This time, the Allied bombings have proved efficient. To protect the beaches of Omaha and Utah, American Rangers launch an assault on Pointe du Hoc. They put German artillery out of commission. But the Germans counterattack with an ambush. The Rangers have to hold out for 48 hours before reinforcements arrive. They lose 75% of their men. Sometime later, on Omaha Beach, the rising tide stops the men. Dreading a defeat, Eisenhower has written a solemn declaration the night before. Our landings in the Cherbourg-Havre area have failed, and I have withdrawn the troops. The soldiers did all that bravery and devotion to duty could do. If any blame or fault attaches to the attempt, it is mine alone.
Ike says, I hope to God I know what I'm doing. There are times when you have to put everything you are and everything you've ever learned on the line. This is one of them.
On Omaha Beach alone, American casualties account for over 1,000 deaths. Juno Beach, at Bernières-sur-Mer. 14,000 Canadians are lost in the rain and fog. The rising tide washes over the German anti-tank obstacles, and the landing crafts are in bad shape. The Allied bombings have also failed here to destroy the German defenses.
Bernières-sur-Mer becomes visible. It's like a picture postcard of a French beach with a village behind, but with German machine guns. I yell to everyone, "Move, fast! Don't stop for anything! Go, go, go!" That first rush across the beach claims a lot of us. I began questioning why war is conducted this way. Suddenly, I step on a mine. I jump off before it explodes. Half of us are gone.
The Canadians enter Bernières-sur-Mer.
My mother's calling out. There are soldiers out there and they don't look German. I'm in awe and admiration. They motion us to come over. We are filled with emotion. They give out candy, small chocolate bars, and cigarettes, sweet corporals. Their old French-Canadian accent adds to the emotion. We were expecting the British or the Americans, but it is the Canadians who are liberating us.
The Canadians are on their way inland. British soldiers land on Gold Beach at Vers-sur-Mer. Among the British troops is Sergeant Stanley Hollis, who had been defeated before in 1940 in France.
We dash over the beach. The firing is much closer. We begin taking more and more casualties. A major says to me, "There's a pillbox there." I rush at it. They fire back at me, but they miss. I get on top of it, and I throw a grenade through the slit.
Stanley Hollis would later be awarded the Victoria Cross, the highest military distinction in England. Not far from there, near Arromanches, the British put up the prefabricated foundations for an artificial port, otherwise known as a Mulberry Harbour, since they don't have access to a big one yet. The Allies have to dispatch reinforcements and material at all costs, a huge challenge for the impending battle. At Sword Beach, Ouistreham, the British land alongside liberated French citizens.
We practically all come from Brittany. I lied to get in. I'm only 18 years old, and I'm very short-sighted. But it was worth it, just to land in France. We have bikes to advance faster. Yes, this is well worth the risk. All of a sudden, we see a group of civilians walking towards us, totally unaware of the danger. They are glad to say we're French. We're hurrying to get to the casino in Rivabella, which the Germans have transformed into a fortress.
This is the turning point for Omaha Beach. Some men dig trenches to spend the night here. Others prime explosives to pierce German defenses.
The lieutenant yells to me, "Get back to the colonel. Tell him the exit is open." Being vertical on Omaha is an invitation to death.
We're waiting. Ike is helpless. I stand behind him and massage his shoulders. But he's so tired that his hand shakes when he lights a cigarette.
Omaha Beach is secured. A considerable amount of German soldiers are killed. To escape death, Heinz Savalot, who has killed hundreds of Americans, is able to flee the inferno on the beach and to get back to German lines.
NCO asks me to guard a couple of American prisoners.
One of them speaks German. I have an idea. I turn to the prisoner and tell him I want to surrender, and give him my weapon.
Now among the Americans, Sevelo tries to hide, but a harsh interrogation reveals his true identity, and he is put on a boat headed to a stateside POW camp, where they nickname him the Beast of Omaha. As for Samuel Fuller, he survives the landing and pushes further on with his elite division, deeper into Normandy. Today is D-Day, June the 6th, 1944. The Allies now hold the landing's 5 Normandy beaches.
The ultimate battle has begun. After so many combats, so much anger and pain, now finally comes the decisive blow. The long-awaited Battle for France. And the Battle of France.
Again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.